So here we are with 8, 10 translations, rotations, and reflections. These are all transformations. A transformation is a change in position or orientation of a figure. It doesn't actually change the shape itself, it just changes where it is on the paper and how you see it. When you go from the beginning to the end, these figures are always still congruent. Now there are 3 different ways that you can move something around. The first type of transformation is a translation. This is essentially a slide. There are no turns, you just pick it up and move it. You go from one spot to another spot. It's the same shape. The second type of transformation is a reflection. A reflection is a flip. So you go from one spot and you flip it over some imaginary line of symmetry onto another spot, and they stay congruent. Your third type of transportation is a rotation. This is the turn. It can be around a point on the thing, or it can be around some kind of outside point that they have to specify. So you take something, and if I use this point as my point of rotation, you're going to turn it around this point and then leave it there. So we're going to work with moving our shapes around. The first thing I need you to do is be able to recognize the difference between the 3 of them, and of course that's just vocabulary. So, your turn. And I'm not sure if you can read the bottom. This is rotation, this is translation, this is reflection. So, take a minute to write this down. First, you're going to tell me what kind of a transformation these are, and then you're actually going to take this shape and you're going to draw a rotation, a translation, and a reflection yourself. So take a moment to hit pause and work these 6 out. Okay, so this one we flipped over some imaginary line, so this is a reflection. This one, I'm not going to write this. This one, we took it and we turned this whole triangle around this point. So this is a rotation. This one, we took the triangle and slid it. This is a translation. If you drew this somewhere, you picked some kind of a random spot and you took this triangle and you moved it. The translation, you picked this up and you moved it somewhere, didn't matter where, but you did not turn it. And then a reflection, you found some kind of line of symmetry and you flipped it over in some direction. Okay? All right. Now it gets hard. We're on level 2. And I know you don't believe that something in this chapter can be hard, but we're actually going to work with a coordinate plane now. If we put these shapes on graph paper, how do these kinds of movements affect us? So, we're going to start with having a translation on a graph. And what the directions look like is, I want you to slide it 3 units right and 2 units down. What that ends up looking like, now essentially you understand what I'm saying. I want you to go 1, 2, 3 over and 1, 2 down. Okay? So it's going to end up over here somewhere. But I want you to be able to do it exactly. Every single point has to do this. And you know you did it right if the shape that you draw at the end is the same as the shape you draw in the beginning. And if it's not the same, you didn't do it right. So I need you to go back and check it. So we're going to take each of these points and we're going to move it 3 units right, 1, 2, 3, and 2 units down, 1, 2. There's my first point. 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, and 2 down, 1, 2. 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, and 2 down, 1, 2. Now, the shape that I draw should look just like the original shape. So now you can see the slide. Does that make sense? All right. Next we're going to do a reflection. Now a reflection, what you're expecting it to do, if I want to reflect it, this says reflect across the y-axis, which remember is this one. So I'm going to take, oh, I didn't make that not sticky enough. I want to take this and I want to flip it over this line. The cool thing about it with graph paper is that you know that however far away it is here, you know it has to be the same distance apart if I'm going to flip it over this line. It's not going to be right there. If I flip it over this line, you've got this shape, plus you've got this space. So you need the space before you hit the shape right there. Now, reflections are cool because they're going to go straight at your line. So if this point is 2 over from your line, it's going to be 2 over from your line. This point is 1, 2, 3, 4 over from my line, so it's going to go here. This point is 1, 2, 3 from my line. 1, 2, 3 from my line. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to draw all of my connecting dot lines, and it should be the same shape reflected and the same distance from your line of reflection. Then we have rotation. If you're going to rotate something around a point on a graph, this is where it gets a little tricky. Now, just to visualize, I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate it around the origin, this spot right here. I want it to rotate kind of like this. I'm going to take this whole thing that's connected to the origin and I'm going to make it rotate 90 degrees. Now, 90 degrees, when you've got 4 quadrants, 90 degrees is 1 quadrant away. But you don't just slide it, you have to rotate it. So it should end up looking kind of like this. Okay? So, here's the tricky part. If you look at this quadrant like this, and you want to rotate, you have to look at this quadrant like this. Let me explain. If I go up and over here, I started out going up. And now I'm going to rotate. So I'm going to start out going in this direction. And my up and over is going to be in that direction. When you're graphing points, you take everything that you do over here and you tilt it. And it's the tilty part that gets a little confusing. So, when I read points, I start by going across and then I go up or down, right? So, I'm going to go 1 to the left and then 1, 2, 3 up to get to this point. So I'm going to take this little L and I'm going to rotate it this way. So now, if I actually turn my head like this and look at it this way, then this looks like my bottom graph, my y-axis. So I can rotate my head so that it looks like I'm doing exactly the same thing on the other graph. So I go 1 over, 3 up. I'm going to rotate over here, and I'm going to go 1 over and 3 up. And I'm going to end up right here. Do you see how that worked? And if I could draw a line straight while I'm actually tilted like that, that line ends up like right about there. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 over and 1, 2, 3 up to get to that spot. So 4 over, 3 up. I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate it to here. So now I'm going to go 4 over and 3 up. And I have to move my L so I can figure out where my 3 is. It's right about there. All right. I'm going to color code these so we don't lose track of them. Let's do the center one. I'm going to go 2 over, 1, 2, 3, 4 up. I'm going to take this and I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to go 2 over and 4 up. It should be right there. I'm going to run out of colors. All right, 1 over, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up gets me here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to go 1 over, and how many did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. There's that one. Ooh, I have pink on pink. Let's see if that works. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it looks like red. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take this one and tilt it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's this one. And another color would be lovely. Let's try orange. Is it going to work? Do I have a green? I have a green. I have a brown. Let's try brown. 1, 2 over, and this is 6 up. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to tilt it, and I'm going to go 2 over and 6 up. Now let's see what we got. I have taken my original shape, and I have rotated it here. Watch it again if you didn't get it, but I need you to be able to understand if I go over and up here and I'm going to turn it, then go over and up again. And if you need to turn it with a little L, because I'm doing this and then I'm doing this, then make that happen for you, because rotation can be tricky. Give it a shot.